Hey everybody, it's Callus, and I'm here to bring you a match that I don't usually cover. I don't usually care about these tours, but I thought this one would be entertaining to you guys and worthwhile. It is McMeghan, Roro against Jabba, Trainer Orange. All these people with too many names, but you get the concept one way or another. And I think this should be really entertaining. This is for the ADV championship in like round 11 or 12 or something in the lower bracket. These things just way too many rounds. They take forever. We're in 12 rounds and there's still people left. But this is very deep in the tournament. There's only like, I don't know, 6 or 8 or whatever people left. It's weird the way it's structured, but we're very deep here. And like I said, Roro and Jabba have gotten paired against each other in the losers bracket. So they're trying to eliminate each other here, and it's going to be a best of 3. So I think this is a good match, not only because anyone who watches my channel or really follows the competitive ADV scene as in general should be familiar with both of these guys, and there's also some history here. They're former Tigers teammates. I don't know what the relationship is here specifically, not going to insinuate anything without knowing, but they definitely know each other, so I think that adds a layer to the dynamic as well. So, like I said, it's a best of 3. I haven't watched any of the games, don't know how it plays out. We're going to find out together. Roro's on the bottom, that's McMeghan. Trainer Orange top is JabbaTheGriffin, the two most common leads in the game, T-Tar and Zapdos respectively, and Zapdos doesn't like it, T-Tar stays in for the Rock Slide. Meta switches in, immediate Meteor Mash. It does have lefties, so we know it's not banded. We also would have known based on the damage, but it's going to immediately blow up, which comes up short. However, it denies Roro the opportunity to get spikes down. Out of the way, back to T-Tar. That'll eat a Thunderbolt, 41%. We see that T-Tar also has lefties. There's a BP, there's Swampert, and again it is just Rock Slide should the Zapdos stay in. It didn't. There's the Rock Resist. Now Bliss coming in, there's a Hydro Pump, 38% via critical hit. A little bit lucky, but shouldn't matter all that much. And there is the Focus Punch coming down, 75% on the Bliss. Going to keep the pressure on her. She decides not to play the prediction game, gets out of the way. That seems wise. Swampert there could have got her with the Earthquake potentially. And it's going to blink on Scarm instead, switches it up now to Ice Beam. Roro predicts that, brings in Metagross, EQ, and Boom respectively, simply resulting in a trade, leaving us in a 5-4 advantage for Roro, keeping in mind that some things, however, are not in good shape. Giga Drain hitting Tar. Retaliation HP Bug falls short. However, with the Sand, there's the kill. I wonder if there's something Jabba could do to EV it differently to make sure he does not die to that non-banded HP Bug. I don't know. But he's got a Sceptile in the back, apparently, and he goes for Swords Dance and then Hidden Power neutral. And now he's got a Gyarados. What the fuck is this team for Jabba? Well, the Boom is probably the right target. He's going to get the Intimidate off and comfortably live the Boom. And the Starmie does have T-Bolt, which is what it wants to have in this situation. However, it still doesn't beat the Zapdos. Now we have the Blissey here, but the Blissey's at 25%. So I guess Roro feels resigned to let the Starmie go. He gets a freeze, but then an insta-thaw. Little scare there for Jabba. And this is really the only way he's going to get the Blissey in safely. So he's going to just try to get a soft-boiled off now. And he knows that's coming. So Jabba's going to go for Substitute. And we'll go from there. There's the BP. Deceptile. S-Toss. Sure. And we still don't really know. We know it has Swords Dance and Hidden Power. So I know that it learns Brick Break. So maybe that's what we're looking at here. +2 Brick Break, which would clean it up, actually. No, it's Earthquake. That's going to be well short. With the Brick Break, I think that would kill the Bliss and the T-Tar. But Earthquake, I don't know that that's going to be good enough. Roro's going to fodder off Tar. This is going to leave us in a one-on-one situation. Sceptile against Blissey, which Zapdos is going to need either rest or some insane luck here. And has neither. And Roro's going to take down game 1. Like I said, I anticipated Brick Break from Sceptile, which would have cleaned it up there. But he didn't have it, and that's going to enable Roro to just barely clutch it out. Very close game. I don't know what this team was for Jabba. It looked standard and normal all of a sudden until it wasn't. I know his teams very well. I don't want to reveal specific details because, as you know, I've teamed with Jabba, managed with Jabba a bazillion times. So, like, when I saw Zapdos, Meta, Swampert, Celebi, I was very confident what the last two would be because he uses the same three teams over and over again. But Sceptile and Gyarados were not where I thought this was going. And yeah, it looked like it was going to work anyway. Like I said, the Sceptile, if it had Brick Break, which I certainly thought that it would, I think would have cleaned it up there, but that is not the way that it went. So Roro is going to take game one. I don't know how much I blame that on Jabba using an Unmon with an unset versus something else that happened actually in the game. But either way, Roro takes game one, and like I said, it's a best of three, so now Jabba is going to have to win two in a row. Otherwise, Roro's going to win the set and likely eliminate Jabba. I say likely because I guess there's three people in the lower bracket, and they all have to play each other. Like I said, weird structure of this tour, not necessarily my cup of tea, but that's a story for another day. Okay, here is game two between Trainer Orange, Jabba versus Roro. We will go ahead and switch the sides for continuity. So we have two Eevee evolutions leading off, Vaporeon and Jolteon respectively. Obviously the electric has the advantage here, and Vaporeon forced to switch. T-Wave on Celebi I don't think matters that much unless you get lucky full powers. It's probably just going to BP out anyway. That's what happens, and the T-Wave goes away. We end up with +1/+1 on Rachi here, firing off Psychics. Gets hit back with an Earthquake, though, and Rachi will not live another one. Says that that's okay, though. Psychic and EQ, does he have a Dougie follow-up? Is that why? No, it's just a Vaporeon follow-up. So interesting that Roro is okay with that trade. Maybe he just doesn't have a great switch into Lax, especially when there is no sand right now. That Lax is kind of bulky. Hydro Pump there on the Gyarados. He doesn't stay in for very long. We end up with Electric on Electric, and then more switching, more BPing. Now we end up with Lax on Celebi. Very well maybe looking at a Boom here. Doesn't pull the trigger just in case Roro anticipates it. Gets a body slam off and finds the para. Now switches it up to Shadow Ball. Full para at a bad time for Roro. Back against the wall. There's the natural cure to P2. This would be a perfect Boom turn. But he can't do it. He goes Shadow Ball instead and whiffs on the normal type. Now T-Wave, again good Boom opportunity, but Jabba not pulling the trigger, doesn't want to Boom on something already weakened. He finds a crit on Body Slam, but not the para, and now Umbreon comes in. Jabba busting out the weird shit. First we have a Sceptile, now we have an Umbreon. Got to get a Taunt on Celebi. That's going to prompt an underwhelming Giga Drain. There's Mean Look. This could be very poor. Calm Mind because he can. He's faster and the Taunt wore off. There's BP. Snorlax is going to be the target, but there's nothing preventing Celebi from BPing out. But keep in mind that he just passed that Mean Look along with it. So this is the matchup that Roro is going to be stuck with. Porygon 2 is not able to switch out of the Lax here. Hidden Power fighting 25%. Body Slam coming back. Doesn't find the para. This could go either way, I guess. I mean, there is the full para opportunity for Jabba, but now the para comes down in Porygon 2 as well, so there's really RNG here with which one gets paralyzed at a bad time. But it is a Rest Lax, so a weird set. So it's Shadow Ball, Body Slam, Earthquake, Rest, which you don't see every day. However, this bodes very poorly for the Porygon 2, who is helpless. Roro cannot switch. He's Mean Look trapped. Remember, Umbreon Mean Look Baton passed to set this up. And yeah, the Porygon 2 very well may get killed or PP stalled as this situation plays out. But I'm definitely going to scoot it on over to Fast, maybe even Hyper Fast, depending on how long this drags out. I'm actually going to go to Hyper Fast right now because we might be looking at a situation where the Lax tries to PP stall the Porygon 2 out. That might be the play, and that's fine, but it's definitely going to take a minute. So like I said, I've moved it over to Hyper Fast. We'll go back to normal speed once this situation plays out. And just waiting. It's definitely going to take a minute, but it's a tournament game, and boring and unfun as this probably is to play, the right play is the right play. You do whatever wins in tournament play. I think Umbreon Pass is really cheesy and lame, but again, it's a tournament. You do what you got to do. You do whatever wins, and that's the way it's going to play out. This is just how it goes sometimes. Going through the motions. Neither one saying anything in chat. What is there to say? This is just kind of lame, and you just kind of click and go through the motions. Waiting for both. From Roro's end, I mean, as opposed to just getting this over with, the right play for him is to also waste as much PP of the lax as possible. So if he's stuck here anyway and he can't switch, he shouldn't just not recover. He shouldn't just let this happen. The best thing for him, since it is a tournament, probably wouldn't bother on ladder. On ladder, you just let the damn thing go and move along. But yeah, in a tournament, the play is to waste as much PP as possible from the lax. A bazillion full pairs in a row for both of them gets them nowhere. Friendly banter between these two gentlemen. Quack quack, says Jabba. Hey, because Porygon 2 is a duck-like Pokemon. Do you guys get it? Jabba's clever. There's the recover. There's the earthquake. Not a lot to narrate here. We're going through the motions. We're almost there. But recover gets off, but a crit comes. There's the full pair. All right, back to normal speed. Vaporeon is the follow-up play with the substitute, and Roro finds himself, after all of that, in a 6-4 hole. Let me just check on the PP of the lax. Low on body slams, but he's got enough of everything else. I think the lax still has some amount of purpose in this game. CM from Celebi. Remember, we know it as BP. Here comes T-Tar setting up Sand, BP to the Vaporeon. That makes sense to me. +1/+1 Hydro Pump would certainly kill this Tar should it connect. And Swampert is going to be the unfortunate victim instead, taking 74% from that. The Vaporeon does have lefties, so there's not much hope of Sand stalling it out. There's the kill on Swampert, who got to do all of nothing in this game. And now it's going to be Jolteon coming in with the Thunderbolt. Going to come up just short of killing, even with the Sand. And we're back to the Celebi here, who again is at +1/+1. The BP chain going to be annoying for Jabba, even though he does still have the lead here at 5-4. Roro also has not shown his last poke yet. There's the second Combine for Celebi. There's BP to Umbreon. Full power at a bad time. However, Umbreon is not a threat to Celebi. Taunt is going to prevent Baton Pass, though, which is obnoxious, and Roro is going to predict that and go straight for the Giga Drain as we cross turn 100. There's the Protect, and Giga Drain again. Is his last move Psychic? Is that why he's not HP firing there? Because, I mean, he's got to be careful. He doesn't want to waste the very limited PP of Giga Drain. He's playing it aggressively, though. He doesn't want the Umbreon to heal itself up if it does have like the Wish Protect combo. We've seen the Protect part of it. In fact, we've seen the full set. Taunt, Mean Look, Baton, Pass, Protect. So we know that it actually doesn't have Wish. So Roro's best play here, I mean, especially with the Taunt, obviously, is to just pound it and try to get her down. Protect, Giga Drain, fine. But the Umbreon is not going to live another attack, whether it's Giga Drain or Hidden Power. It will die either way, especially with the Sand. And Hidden Power is going to be good enough. So down goes the Umbreon. We end up with Gyarados here against a +2/+2, but paralyzed, full health Celebi. Switches out, not going to take the risk. And there's Zapdos, and it is HP Flying, not Rock, not a Bluff, so that would have hurt Celebi, but it wouldn't have killed it. If he wanted to be greedy there, he could have eaten that and then BP'd to the Zapdos. And that might be a mistake from Roro if he had let the Celebi eat the HP Flying and then he BP'd to the Zapdos there. I think the Zapdos just cleans. So Roro may have missed a window there. +2/+2 Zapdos might have just ended the game for him. It doesn't kill the Lax on its own, but with a Para or something along those lines, or he could just BP out. I mean, we know that the Lax doesn't have Boom, so he doesn't really need to worry about it. He just Thunderbolts it, he tries to avoid crit or Para, and then he Thunderbolts it again and he wins. So I think Roro had the window to just clean that up here. He very well may still win, but I think I like the other line of play better. Jabba seems more in the game now than he would have been the other way. This is all to say that Roro still has an unrevealed poke, so I mean, that could obviously change the game in a huge way, depending on what we're looking at here. But right now, it's just an Agilizap, which is why it is faster, even though it's paralyzed, than the Lax is, trying to Thunderbolt it down. Full power at a bad time. There's the Wake. There's a Shadow Ball. Interesting. Is he out of body slams? It says he's got one, but one of them was against the Zapdos, so pressure. So he actually is out of body slams. He's got 0 of those. And another full para coming down for the Zapdos. And another full para for the Zapdos. Unlucky for Roro. He's going to have a couple of bad ones in a row. Thunderbolt now. One more sleep turn killed. Gonna wake up on the next turn. See if Roro wants to do something cool on the way out. It is just another Thunderbolt. There's the Wake. There's the Shadow Ball. Good enough. 3-3 game. Unrevealed. Still in the back for Roro. Here's Vaporeon as the follow-up. No good switch for Jabba. Has to just hope for a miss. And he's just got to let the Jolteon eat it. So Jolteon falls to 23% after eating that big Hydro Pump. Now Celebi comes back. It's T-Wave yet again. Let's see. Celebi has 3 Giga Drains left. That should be enough for this late game if need be. Vaporeon versus T-Tar makes sense. Unclear if the Hydro Pump is a one-hit KO without the boost, but unluckily for Roro, he's simply going to miss. And now we've got Celebi. It's going to get close, 3-2. We still don't know the last poke, and it's obviously very relevant in this situation. Last tier could win or lose, depending on what we're looking at. There's the T-Wave, and again a full power for Roro. He's had a couple of those at bad times this game, no doubt. Here's Lax, and there's Calm Mind. So +2/+2, but paralyzed, but we know that the Lax, who not only is running low on PP as a whole, but we also know he doesn't have Boom. And there's a Giga Drain and a crit, which is great for Roro. That's going to prompt out T-Tar. We've seen only Earthquake from it, and it's not a DD variant. We're looking at a substitute user, but it's interesting because he can substall him out of Giga Drains here when he only has like 1 or 2 left. This says he has 1 left. And there's full power at a bad time. Now the T-Tar is behind a sub. That's dangerous, and it is a DD variant. DD sub is awkward. Yeah, Giga Drain pops the sub, but T-Tar a big threat now, but we know the last move is going to be Rock Slide, so we know he doesn't have HP Bug. It's going to get interesting. And there's sub and another bad full para here. Jabba's pretty well set up. There's another Dragon Dance. Roro looks to be in trouble here. And he's going to concede. There's the win for Jabba, so that is going to send us to a 3rd game. Roro clutches out the first game with the Blissey Sceptile weirdness. Jabba's going to manage to get this game down. And like I said, I can't help but wonder. I don't know the last poke for Roro. That may or may not change the equation. But I can't help but wonder if Roro messed up and missed an opportunity to win the game with that Zapdos sequence that I discussed. I think it would have... The Zapdos would have cleaned up most things, I think. I mean, it's not he doesn't just win on the spot. +2 Thunderbolt, for example, does not kill Tyranitar, nor does it kill Lax. So, I mean, it wasn't a 100% line by any means, but I do still like that line a little bit better because I think it would have put him in the driver's seat and forced damage or forced sacrifices from Jabba, and maybe it's a different situation. But without knowing the last, it's really hard to know how it would have played out. So, all shoulda, woulda, coulda. This was a close game, and Roro definitely got unlucky with full powers multiple times at bad times, and that enabled Jabba to pull it back. So it's going to send us to what the fans almost always want to see in any 2 big name best of 3, which is a game 3. That's what we all want. So it's going to be game 3. Like I said, the winner wins the set. I don't know if the other guy's actually eliminated or not because the weird 3 people in the lower bracket nonsense, but winning the series is obviously what you want to do. So here's the 3rd game. Let's find out who does exactly that. Switcheroony, Roro on the bottom one more time, Jabba on the top. T-Tar and Skarm lead respectively. Spikes and a Fire Blast miss. Good turn 1 for Jabba, no doubt. Spikes number 2 and a Fire Blast for the straight up kill, which I was not expecting. So that Skarm, I think, was probably YOLO in order to take it that badly. I mean, it makes sense, right? If he's leading, he's trying to catch a Magneton. I think that was a lead YOLO Skarm for Jabba. So, we find ourselves with Coon against Zapdos. Thunderbolt 37%, so a bulky zap it looks like. And the Coon going aggro with the Ice Beams. Surf will be good enough with a crit, sure. So that's going to give Jabba the retaliation to bring it to 5-5, but very short-lived as Aerodactyl follows up and kills. We've got ourselves a pretty fast-paced game here. Pretty quick 4-5 with Roro in the lead. However, he's got 2 layers of spikes beneath his team that he must deal with, and Jabba gets the immediate Meteor Mash. So I was going to say immediate Meteor Mash. Not the name of the move. The immediate Meteor Mash attack raise. And then he protects and switches. So, Celebi and Swampert now becomes Gengar against Celebi. It's a Swords Dance variant. Makes sense to me. Obviously going to try to pass that to something. Eats an Ice Punch before he does. And Hidden Power neutral coming down here. So obviously not HP Fighting. Maybe it's HP Rock here. Celebi learns Ancient Power as well. But we're not going to get to see what it wants to do because it gets blown up on. And that leaves us in a 4-3 situation. Last Poke Cloyster coming in for Roro. Doesn't bother spinning or spiking though. He's just going to surf the meta. Probably thought that a Gengar was going to come in. But I don't think that I would agree with that thought process because it's a Swords Dance Pass team and it's really unlikely in my mind that a Gengar would fit on that for Jabba. So maybe he just doesn't have Rapid Spin, but it's interesting that he doesn't value the spike. The whole time he just surf. That's what he wants to do here. And after a Meteor Mash miss on the previous turn, Jabba does manage to finish it off. We end up with this matchup again. We know the Swampert is Protect, but he's not able to do that on this turn, and the boom comes down correctly for Jabba, resulting in a trade, leaving us in a 2-2. Zapdos on Tower, gotta favor Tower here. Hidden Power, is that fighting? I think it actually is HP Fighting. Makes sense on the Swords Dance Pass team, which is why it does so much damage. Now Thunderbolt with the kill. Aerodactyl here. Let's pause. What a situation this is. So what's the last for Jabba? Because that's what Roro has to figure out in order to not lose this game. Now, granted, there are some things where you lose no matter what. For example, if it's last poke, like the nightmare scenario for Roro would be Jirachi, right? Because the only move you're going to beat the Jirachi with is Earthquake, and obviously you can't Earthquake here against the Zapdos. So, like, if it were Jirachi, which I don't think it is, but if it were, that would be the nightmare scenario, and Roro can't win anyway. As far as, yeah, I mean, it's a Swords Dance Pass team, right? So you would think it's something physical. So, like, 2 pokes that immediately come to my mind are Aerodactyl and Gyarados. In that case, the move that you want here is Rock Slide. But of course, if it turns out, okay, it's, it's Claydol, for example, which is like the most common partner, one of the most common partners for Kun, then Rock Slide is very much not where you want to be. You want to just go Double Edge here. Double Edge is safer. If it's something that Rock Slide would be neutral against, for example, Double Edge would do more and can't miss, but it also can't flinch. And then there would be, I guess, HP Flying for Aerodactyl. I don't even know if that kills Zapdos here. Now, granted, this Zapdos probably has close to 0 bulk since it is a mixed Zapdos with Drill Peck, HP Fighting, Thunderbolt, and whatever its last move is. So it probably has like almost no bulk. I don't know what the calc is on Hidden Power Flying here, but I see very little reason to consider that move. And you can't Earthquake, so I mean, I think it's only Double Edge or Rock Slide here if you're Roro. I think I personally would click Rock Slide because I think there's a lot of last pokes it could be where maybe a flinch is necessary to win the game. For example, if it were like last poke Tower, you're just dead in the water. If you Double Edge, the only way you get out of this is if you either dodge a Rock Slide or it doesn't have Rock Slide or you land a flinch or whatever. And like I said, Double Edge, you'd just be dead in the water in that scenario. I think against another Aerodactyl, you're dead in the water if you don't Rock Slide. Maybe you could beat a Gyarados, depending on the sets of both, if you Double Edge. But I think you have to Rock Slide here if you're Roro. You guys can let me know in the comments what you think you should do without knowing the last. It's difficult, and like I said, there could be some damned if you do, damned if you don't scenarios here. Like I said, if it were something like Arachi on the other side, Roro's dead here no matter what he does. But I'm going to say in the dark that you just have to Rock Slide here. Aerodactyl, Gyarados, T-Tar, there's just too many matchups where that is what it is. Now, granted, if Jabba had like last poke Flygon or something, you probably lose because you Rock Slide. Same thing, Claydol very well may win if it has any way to damage the Aerodactyl, and he goes for Rock Slide. So it's far from guaranteed, but I think it's the right play. I think there's just too many scenarios where not Rock Sliding just fucks you here. So I think that's what you got to do. We'll see what he does. We'll see how it plays out. That's my take. He goes double edge. I don't agree. And it is Scizor here. Oh, well, that's actually not what I thought. It's a non-choice band Aerodactyl, so that takes the suspense out of it. But yeah, he's pretty boned here, I believe. Lychee Berry raised his attack, not his speed, so the Agila Scizor is going to just be faster and just clean it up here. That was an awkward sequence. I don't mind the set with the Lychee Berry Aerodactyl. I've seen it be used effectively many times. I think it's a fine set. But I think that he gets very unlucky here where basically it doesn't matter what he clicks. Basically he would have needed to not only land, because he did miss, but land and flinch the first rock slide. He would have needed to prevent the agility, basically. So he would have needed a sequence of 2 rock slides in a row in which the first one always flinches, and then the second one either flinches or crits was the only way that Roro was going to get out of that. The second the agility came down for Jabba, it was basically over. Now, there was still a way out of that, which is that the follow-up rock slide, I guess, could have crit. But missing the turn 21 rock slide basically sealed the deal there. Like I said, he needed to flinch him there and prevent the agility, and then on the following turn he either needed to flinch him again or crit him. But crucially, if you prevent that first agility, because that was basically the game, if you prevent the first agility, the next rock slide hits, even if it doesn't crit or flinch, Jabba then agilities, which is fine, and that would put Jabba in a position where if he even has a move that can one-hit KO the Aerodactyl, he himself would need a crit. So basically the whole game came down to turn 21, whether or not he could find the crit. He did not, and Jabba's going to clutch it out. This set very, very close. All 3 games close, in fact. This set well worth narrating, but Jabba is going to get the W here over Roro. Like I said, that doesn't necessarily eliminate Roro because of the weird structure of the tournament, but obviously better to win the set than lose the set. That's what Jabba's going to do. I don't know how it plays out from here, but I thought this was worth bringing to you guys. I don't usually cover this tournament, but like I said, thought this was worthwhile. You guys let me know if you enjoyed it and if you want more random stuff like this every now and again. In the meantime, off to work. What a wonderful place. You guys have a nice day. Thumbs up if you like the video. Por favor.